Now, Eyewitness Sports.
Welcome into WPRI Double OT. I'm Ruthie Plinsky, joined by Yanni Caracas and Mark Dondero. Guys, how we doing?
Doing great.
Fresh cuts.
You guys both got the fresh cuts.
What about
I feel
you?
left out. No, I need a haircut. Bad though. Lots to talk about before we all head our separate ways for.
We're going to go to the tournament. I'll be in New
We
York.
got
You'll be in Washington.
conference tournament
Yeah.
travel. Then
Over under. How many nights is Mark in New York? Well, that'll correspond to our PC
we'll get
question.
to that. All right, we're going to start with the A10. We'll start with URI. Obviously, a rough week for the Rhody Rams, which is kind of a sad way to look at it because they won the regular season A10 championship. But what was it? Tuesday, devastating loss to St. Joe's.
Bad
Lost
loss.
by 30
Bad loss.
at home. Just missing out on their first ever undefeated season at the Ryan Center. So, how concerning is it? Are you worried? You asked Dan Hurley, didn't go over well.
So Dan eviscerated me at the post-game press
Just
conference.
with his eyes. I think it was a gentle evisceration.
Was it as good as his look up
Oh, no
to
way.
you? Was that Fordham
When,
last
no,
year?
when he rolled his eyes at me directly, that was the
When
best.
he heard your voice and looked
Oh,
up.
that was the best. That was
utter
one of my
disdain,
highlights.
utter
That was one of the
disdain.
highlights of my WPRI career. No, I always appreciate Dan Hurley fire. I am not worried at all. Not at all. I couldn't believe. And look, I didn't want to poo-poo the loss, the defeat. You don't want to lose.
Right.
But the fact that Dan Hurley was beating himself up so bad. And look, you know, he started Jarvis Garrett instead of Jeff Dowden. We all know. Senior night, they were celebrating the A10 regular season title. I get it. But he was beating himself up. And I could not believe how much he was beating himself up. I am not worried at all. This was a basketball game that went awry. And in basketball, in any sport, but especially in basketball, that happens. You go cold. I mean, we were there. You couldn't believe how many just shots rolled off the rim. It was like there was something
nothing was
underneath the
falling.
basket just blowing the bat. You know, it didn't allow the ball to go through the hoop. I'm not worried one bit. You know, I will watch a little. You know, I'll be interested on Friday, Davidson. But I'm not worried. There's no way Jarrett Terrell and E.C. Matthews will go 1 for 12 from 3 again. They won't. They're too good. They've been consistent. When Dan was, you know, articulating to me about that sometimes bad teams or bad games happen throughout the course of the season, I know he mentioned that check the stats. You know, that's why they're called averages. They will not have that kind of game again.
Right.
The team is too good. I think they're mentally tough. They're a strong team. They're not soft. We know, like, one of their assistant coaches doesn't really like soft teams, so they're not soft. This team will be fine. That's all I have to say. I'm not worried at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I think Dan Hurley said in that answer to you, we can personally deliver you those stats from the rest
I am
of the
still
year.
waiting
What
for
did he
those
say?
stats.
What did
Yeah.
he say? He says,
We can get those
we'll
for
get
you.
those
That's like
to
when
you.
Bill's like, Stacy,
Yeah,
can you make
yeah.
sure we get them this right away? All right, this is no concern at all, obviously. The only reason why it's an annoyance and a huge letdown is because it's senior night. You want to win on your senior night. You want to go undefeated at home. I think that's a really cool statistic. So when you look in totality at the season, you know, NCAA tournament, regular season championship, we think, or we presume potentially A10 tournament championship, you'd like to the other, you know, bullet points, undefeated at home, win on resume night, on senior night. But listen, if you take 16-2, at the beginning of the year you said 16-2 in the league, which I think they'll go because I think they'll beat Davidson, you take that. Obviously, you mentioned how awful they were from the field. I think they caught up in the emotion. They were down double digits to Dayton the Friday before, and then were just able to turn it on. So I think when they were down 10, they were probably like, oh, we'll be fine. And then it kind of snowballed. St. Joe's, I don't think, is as bad as their record indicates. So not a big concern. They're going to be fine. It's just the you know, the pretty bow or the icing on the cake of what this would have meant to their season, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Can I just add real quick?
Yeah.
I think that I just want to make clear that, as I said, Dan Hurley beating himself up, but it did have more of a disappointing tone to his comments. It was more disappointment.
You're not worried about the team.
I
It's
don't
not
think,
like,
but he was going on for so long. It made me think, is he worried? That's where that question
I think his
came.
personality is such that this game will eat him up like any loss does, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's worried about his team.
No, overall, I'll agree with that. I just couldn't believe how long it went on. He was certainly disappointed. He should have been disappointed. I don't think he was worried at the end of the day.
He kept saying in his post-game press conference that he felt bad that he didn't have his team emotionally ready for this game. There were a lot of tears pregame. I think it was an emotional night for him too, for Hurley. He had to leave the court crying because that's EC, that's Jared. Those are the guys that built this program for him. So it was an emotional night for him. I think he felt bad that he maybe wasn't able to keep his composure the way he maybe wanted to. And then of course, it was emotional for those guys. So I'm not worried at all. At all. That's all I have to say about that.
All right, so we're in unison there.
All right. Not worried. Even a slight. Who came up with that question? Why did we even ask it if we're all in unison? Just kidding.
Well, I wanted to articulate a few things.
All right, let's move on to PC. Lost at Xavier last night. Beat Xavier at home earlier in the season. Do they belong in the dance? Are they going to?
Well, they're certainly on the bubble right now. On the bubble. 9-8 as we tape this in the Big East. Mm-hmm. Should they beat St. John Saturday, they'll be 10-8. We all know if they didn't beat Villanova and Xavier, 2 top 5 wins, they would not even be in consideration. But those wins are so big for their resume, for their RPI, for their strength of schedule, all of those things. 2 possible number 1 seeds. Without those wins, they're not in the discussion, but they have those wins.
Right.
From what this guy, Jerry Palm, bracketologist, I was reading today, they have now 4 quadrant 4 losses. So there's quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4 wins and losses. So 4 bad losses, which doesn't hurt them. He has a statistic. Only 7 teams in the last 20 years have made the dance with that many bad losses. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to beat St. John's. They're going to win their first game in the Big East. Then they're going to lose in the semifinals, and they're going to get in. That's what I think is going to happen. Right now, are they deserving? They're certainly on the fence. I would say at this moment they are. If they lose to St. John's, they're in real big trouble. Real big trouble. But I expect them to beat St. John's on senior night.
They are a team that deserves to be in the tournament. I think.
Your eyeballs tell you that?
Yeah. Would I like them to be a little more consistent? Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Kyron Cartwright, we've talked about it on this show. Just such a frustrating player at times because he's so good sometime, and then there's times where he doesn't even look like he belongs in Division I basketball. I don't know what to tell you. But this team, look, when Tom Brady retires, when a player retires, when the season ends, I look more at the highlights, the highs.
Right.
This team, if you said, he can't lose to St. John's. They beat St. John's. They go to 10-8. That's a winning record in the Big East. They have 2 huge wins over top 5 teams. 2 wins over projected at one point number 1 seeds.
Right.
They have a winning record, like I said. 2 big wins, other good wins, some gutty wins. That Georgetown one on the road was a gutty win. They've had a few other ones. Marquette, there was a stretch there, some bad losses.
When CBS puts up their resume, though, and you see the amount of losses, because they're at 12 right now, they're going to have a 13th, assuming they don't win the Big East. Someone who hasn't watched PCL years week, this team got in with 13 losses.
Right.
Well, when you have 2 wins over projected number 1 seeds,
right.
and that's the benefit of being in conferences that have good teams and that are putting a lot of teams in the dance.
I would put them in. To me, they are a team, a tournament team. We'll see. But like you said, they got to.
And I think Cooley does a good job of reiterating this every week, is that every Big East game is going to be a tough game. And that, I think, in itself has a team deserving to be in the dance when you've had those quality wins. If they didn't win a game in the Big East or they won 5 games in the Big East, then no. But they've had those wins. They're playing tough games every week. They deserve to be there.
You know what will be interesting? I'm not saying I'm rooting for it, but if let's say they beat St. John's and then they lose in the first game of the Big East tournament,
they
stand.
Dicey.
And well, that's what I'm that would be kind of fun. Real dicey, and Selection Sunday really meant something.
Last year they were in the field. URI stealing the A10 bid pushed PC into the first 4.
True.
I think the people.
But we still thought they were going to get in last year, right? Wouldn't that have been an upset?
No, PC would have been in the normal field. They were forced to go to Dayton because of URI. Literally, URI pushed them in. I think URI would have gotten in the first 4, but anyway, what are we?
They're a tournament team right now.
Yeah. All right, we're switching gears to the Patriots. A lot of off-season potential movement. Should the Pats prioritize Talib or Sherman?
Aqib Talib or Richard Sherman?
Well,
Tom Brady, that's my quarterback. He throws bombs. It's fun.
Now, I know Richard Sherman has a lot to say, but there is no other in terms of the sound bite you get from from Aqib Talib. So from that perspective, there is no debate here.
The man shot himself.
Aqib Talib.
He shot himself.
But the answer from a football perspective to me is Richard Sherman. I think he's 2 years younger. I'm not a big look. Aqib Talib has had his history of injuries, his history of drama. He was a good player here, but never showed up when it mattered in the playoffs. Here in Denver, he did. He got hurt a lot. In the big games, he got hurt. Wasn't available.
He was hurt in the Denver FC Championship game. Was he hurt in the Baltimore one too? Yes.
Yeah, he never showed up in the big games in the playoffs for the Patriots. Denver, different story. Richard Sherman, I would go with him. He's taller. He's younger. If you want to talk about his accomplishments, he's more accomplished. I think he has more leadership qualities than Aqib Talib. Not knowing Sherman all that well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. It's just something about his game. Both guys, I don't have a ton of confidence covering a slot receiver or an Edelman kind of receiver going side to side instead of up and down the field. I just would go with Sherman. Talib has been here. He's older. I don't love where his career trajectory is at right now. Sherman, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't love either to be honest. I'd rather draft the guy the Saints got, Marcus Lattimore, somebody like that, if you can get a guy like that.
I think Patriot media and fans have gotten lazy in that if big name player X is disgruntled or leaving their team, oh, perfect for the Patriots, right?
Well, how many times has that worked out really well? Really worked out?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
I don't necessarily love either. I like your points on Sherman, but I'm going to go with Talib purely from a locker room situation. He's been here. He knows the deal. He's got some swagger and toughness. He'll rip the chain right off your neck. And I think the Pats secondary, all really nice guys. Oh, Duron Harmon, Devin McCourty, they're such nice guys. Like, I don't know how mean they are.
Okay.
Maybe we need some toughness back there.
Richard Sherman doesn't have swagger.
He does. Okay. He absolutely does. But here's where I want Talib over Sherman. What has Sherman done? He's called out Pete Carroll for coaching decisions. So when Bill does a 4th and 2 or sits Malcolm Butler akin to that decision, is Sherman going to mouth off? And then is he going to divide the locker room? I think Sherman is too opinionated and too much of a personality, really. I think Talib can kind of mesh in here. And I would assume for either player, it would be a short-term deal.
So that's your locker room standpoint, but what about football standpoint?
Yeah, I think Sherman's the better player right now, but I'm taking Talib.
You got to fit the mold.
I would take the chance that Richard Sherman will be able to acquiesce to the Patriots culture.
And listen, the stuff we went to Stanford, obviously. Enough with that.
Okay. Well,
players go to schools that have good academics all the time. That doesn't mean they're smart. I think he is a smart guy, but you think every football player at Notre Dame's a smart guy? Or at Stanford, or at Duke?
Well, that's a separate debate.
You went to Stanford. Yeah. Great guy.
Well, Kyrie Irving went to Duke and doesn't think the world is round, so.
Well, he went there for 1 year. Actually, 3 months.
5 months.
Yeah,
look, it is. It's close.
It's close.
But
both intriguing.
It's close.
Yeah, it's more about what you can do on the field. I just think that, and I guess maybe I shouldn't be saying this right now, but usually I give the Patriots locker room the benefit of the doubt. I think the locker room is strong enough to, bring in a guy like Richard Sherman. I mean, both guys have very strong personalities.
Yeah, I mean, Martellus Bennett was in here.
Martellus Bennett.
Harrison.
Yeah.
Just came in and did his job.
I think he was lone wolf.
Did his job. Yeah, he
was
kind of was alone in that. All right, we got to go to the next question because we got a short one today.
We got weather.
And I want to get to this one. Are you annoyed with the Gronkowski saga? And I'm going to start with this one because I am very annoyed with him. And here's why. Not because he's frustrating the media and he's creating the dialogue. What I'm mad at him for, not mad, but annoyed, frustrated, is he's teasing the fans. Like, what about all these loyal Patriots fans that have followed you and backed you through your career, and you're just kind of playing these Twitter games with them, tweeting #clueless, shrug emoji. Like, come on. How much longer is he going to do this and play these games with everyone's mind just to create some dialogue? If you want to go to WWE, be decisive and go, so that no one's like, wow, he wished he really would. If he wishes he would have stayed and played football. Make your decision, be strong about it, and don't have this wishy-washy attitude of, I want to play football, but my body hurts, and whatever. Just, do you like that?
That sounded like the Amy Schumer
my body hurts. I love her, thank you. So that's, are you annoyed? Yes, is my answer. Who wants to go?
Yeah, listen, in 2018, putting out social media
It's
emojis
literally
and
just
cryptic
to
tweets.
anger people.
Here's what I think is going on here. Gronk is taking his time to make a decision, and I don't think he's made one. So I don't think he likes when his phone is blowing up with everyone,
Sure.
hey, you're staying, you're not staying, this, that. I think he genuinely is still considering things. So when he sees a report potentially floated by the Patriots to Ian Rappaport, hey, we think Gronk's coming back as far as we know. And then he's like clueless, like, I didn't tell anyone else. Like, if Gronk hasn't told anyone in the last week that he's staying, he's probably mad that that's out there. And because he's at this crossroads in his life and his career, he doesn't want other people creating this narrative. But yes, much better ways to handle that than this.
If that were the case, let me come back at you with this, because if that were the case, either A, don't say a damn thing on Twitter, just keep your mouth shut, or come out and say, hey, guys, let me tell you that I haven't made a decision yet. Would that be the end of the world?
And listen, it's March. When does he need to make a decision? Mini camps in June? I mean, the draft is next month. When's the draft? April or May? The Pats probably want to know about. I think it'll come to a head because don't they have to pay Martellus Bennett in like the next week or something? There's a bonus involved. There's something going on with Bennett where they're going to want to hedge their bet if Gronk's not coming back. But he doesn't owe the Patriots.
So are you annoyed?
Yeah, of course. Yes, I'm annoyed.
But you were
I was annoyed when I
defending
stacked my show yesterday, and at 5:30 I had to change it because Gronk sends out a stupid tweet.
Hashtag clueless. Shrug.
You know, my wife gets mad at me for this all the time, but if I was leaving, I'm going to go shoot high school basketball later tonight. If I'm leaving, about to leave, and I say, hey, you know, Yanni, listen, I got this unbelievable story. You got to hear what happened. Oh, let me tell you later. I'll be back.
You do that?
You'd be annoyed, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying you'd be annoyed.
Yeah.
You can't say that and then just walk out the door. I think that applies here a little bit. Look, clueless. He's responding to the whatever. Where does that cover the very dramatic quote?
That was super
the very
dramatic.
Robert Frost, Bill Koch-esque kind of quote. You know, like what is that? Does that cover that?
Philosophical.
Very deep and powerful quotes.
And anyone who's heard
mysterious.
Gronk talk for 2 minutes knows that he's not going through poem books looking for inspirational quotes.
The thing is, yes, I'm annoyed because, like everybody else, you feel like you're being teased a little bit, and that he's enjoying it. If this guy, this wrestler, what's the wrestler's name? Mojo or whatever. It feels like they're sort of egging it on now at this point. I'm not into that. If he's trying to make a decision, doesn't know legitimately what he wants to do, that's fine.
Right.
But I don't need to be dragged along. You just let us know when you decide. It doesn't need to be played out on Twitter. It doesn't need to be that way.
Right.
Just go away, figure it out, and then let me know when you decide. Because I don't want to deal with this. I don't have time to deal with this. I don't have the energy. Look, the Patriots have put enough drama on the table this year. I'm done with their drama. Great organization.
Drama.
I'm done with the drama.
So much TMZ.
Done. I don't care.
Should we talk about Robert Kraft's
We could
alleged
talk about
new
that.
kid?
Oh my God.
I just have a hard time. I mean, I just been picturing him having sex all day, and that's just awful.
Can you say sex on TV?
I can't just.
Why have you been picturing that?
Well, I wasn't expecting that.
Unequivocally the greatest.
I wasn't expecting that.
It could have been artificial
news.
insemination.
Hey, if they're happy,
Hey, how old's RKK?
76.
Damn. If that's working, good for him.
Good for him, I guess.
Good for him.
That's a separate discussion.
Yeah.
But with the Gronk, I just think, like you said, like you alluded to, Yanni and Ruthie, this could be done more privately.
Right.
And you figure it out on your
Maybe
own
they're
time.
filming an
It seems a little
episode of the
unprofessional.
Gronkowskis.
I just don't think it needs to be this.
Yeah.
I don't know,
we agree on
public
that.
or.
Right, like it just seems a little
He's stoking the
unprofessional.
fire. It's like he's coming over and be like, hey, I just thought of something else. See you later. Like, no.
Right.
Just let me know when you've made a decision.
Right.
That's that.
Right.
All right.
Done.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
No, thank you.
If we don't get to another OT pre-tournament and stuff,
We'll try to do something.
we'll try
Maybe
to.
Why can't we do it next Wednesday?
But good luck to our Rhode Island teams. We are rooting for you because we want to go along there with you on the ride. Don't you? Go URI, go PC.
Ruthie's so well.
Cheerleader girl. over
Fangirl
here.
for both teams. Anyway, thank you guys for watching and listening. And
Last episode didn't
I'm
go
not
on iTunes for some reason. I don't know why that happened.
I'm not sure if
Suck the
we
link.
can
Tuck
put
the
this.
link.
Can we put this on iTunes if we talked about Robert Kraft and his sexual endeavors? Anyways, we will
Do you know how
see
big
you
is it?
next time. And make sure you see the full episode on WPRI.com. Thanks for watching.